Hello! So glad you could join me today for math. Our goal today is going to be to learn to solve whole number multiplication equations. So this is our third lesson in a row where we're kind of using the same idea here with inverse operations. First day was adding, subtraction. Now our third lesson in a row here is multiplication. Write this down, and some of you are forgetting the page number and date, so I'm telling you right now, put the page number and date as well in your notebook, and come back when you are ready. All right, your warm-up, a little simpler than it's been in the last few lessons. All I want you to do is do some dividing. You got 6 problems. Come back when you're finished, and we'll see how you did. So here are the answers to your 6 problems. Number 1, you should have gotten 6, because 12 goes into 72 6 times. 2 is 13, 3 was 10. 4 was 4, 5 was 26, and 6 was 13. If you got 5 of them correct or 6 of them correct, I want you to give yourself 2 taps on the table. Boom, boom. So let's continue looking at how we can do multiplication equations today. So let's look at this little problem we have here. 9 banded armadillos are always born in groups of 4. So if you count 32 babies, what is the number of mother armadillos if they each come in groups of 4? Well, here's how you could solve it. You could put together equal groups of 4 and then multiply. And what you could do is you can let M represent the mothers for the armadillos and just see what is 4 times M. Well, 4 times M is going to equal 32. That's your equation. Now again, we're using that same process we've used with inverse operation, but today we're going to a new operation, new being in multiplication. Now, multiplication and division are inverse operations. So to solve this, you're going to have to undo the multiplication by using division. So I want you to put this down here so you have this and our example. So if we had 4m, which means 4 times m, what's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. Now, I've been showing you with division the fraction bar, and now it's almost going to be required that you continually do this. So when you divide by 4, you know what 4 divided by 4 gives you. That gives you a 1. So when you get a 1 here, it's gone. It's canceled. And having just m on one side then, and then 4 goes into 32 8 times. So if there were 32 new babies of 9 banded armadillos, then you know that there were 8 mothers that gave birth. 4 babies each time. Once you have these notes down, you can move on to the next slide. Again, if you need to write this down so you remember that 4m means 4 times m, you can do that too. That's your choice. All right, let's do a few practice problems together as we practice this inverse operation of multiplication equations. So again, I want you to write this stuff down as we go. This is going to be our problem we're looking at. The problem is 5p, or 5 times p, equals 75. So the first step after writing down the problem, I guess that's your first step. Second step is then finding out the inverse operation, or how do we undo the multiplication to both sides. Again, look for the number that's related to the variable. The variable is p. Let me use a different color. Variable is p, so the number next to it is what we're looking at, which is that 5. So divide both sides by 5, because that's the opposite of multiplication. The 5's cancel out, and you leave the p alone down here. And what you do to one side, you got to do to the other. And 5 goes into 75. Use your fingers and toes 15 times. So your answer is p equals 15, and I'll circle it because it's always good to circle your answer. It's easier to find. That would be your third step, is writing that down. And remember, how do we check our work? Real simple. Put what you found p equaling back into the original problem at p, or right down here. So if you did 15 times p, that gets 75, and since we have a balanced equation, it checks off as correct. So make sure you have all that down before you continue on to the next part of the video. All right, let's try this one. It's 16 equals 8r. Remember, first step, write down what the problem 16 equals 8 r. Now we have to see what is r being multiplied by. What number do you see r being multiplied by? I see the 8 next to the r. So that means that we're going to have to divide both sides by 8 so that we undo the multiplication. So we replace the question marks with an 8. And on the one side with the variable, they're gone, and we just bring the r down. And on the other side, we're going to see how many times 8 goes into 16. 8 goes into 16 twice. So our answer is 2. And again, we can check our work simply by putting 2 in for r. So you do 8 times 2, and that gets you 16. So in our problem here, 16 does equal 16, so it is balanced, and we got the check mark. Cool. Make sure you have this problem down as well in your notebook. All right, well, here's a problem-solving application. And what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video after I read this problem and see if you can do it on your own. And then we'll come back together and we'll see if you got the right answer. So our problem that we're looking at here is the area of a rectangle is 56 square inches. Its length is 8 inches. What's its width? So we know if we look at our drawing over here, we have 8 and we have W. So the total is 56. Try to find out what the width is. Come back when you're done. All right, let's see how you did. So as you can see, you know that area equals length times width. Now with our problem, we were told the area is 56. And we were told what the length is, which is 8. But what we wasn't told was the width, so we keep it as 8W. So now this looks like the other two problems we just did on the board. So we have to do the opposite of multiplication, which, as you already know, is division. So we divide both sides with the number next to the variable, so that would be 8. So we just have to bring down the W, and we have to see how many times does 8 go into 56, which is 7. So the answer should be 7 inches, or 7 equals W. 7 inches equals W. Now how do we check? Let's put that 7 back over here. And if we do 7 times 8, we do indeed get 56. So if your answer was 7 inches, you did it correctly. Give yourself a round of applause if you got it correctly. Good job. So here's your box of thought for today. Go ahead and complete this in your notebook. First question says, tell what number you would use to divide both sides of the equation. So what would you divide both sides by is what I want to know. Nice short answer. Number 2 says, tell whether the solution of 10 times c equals 90 will be less than 10 or less than 90 or greater than 90. How do you know? Okay, once you got that done, you can move on to the quiz. And here's your quiz. 5 questions. Do your best and don't forget to show your work. Good luck. We'll see you next lesson.